Hey everybody, and welcome to our last and final episode of the Rest series. As you can see, I am not alone. I've got some friends with me, and the reason that they are with me is we're gonna have a little Q&A about just the practical side of resting. So I've got Elena with me.
Hi
Elena,
guys.
okay, do you want to just explain a bit about your
Yes.
family context and where you find yourself?
Yes, so I'm married. I have two kids. My firstborn is Sophia. She's just turned 4. And Jack, who's 18 months and just learned to walk. So things are busy.
Yeah, you got on the busy side of the young
Yes.
kid's life. And then the other friend that we have with us is Prince.
Yeah.
So Prince, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm actually on the opposite side of Elena. I'm
Yeah.
unmarried, but I'm also a creative, so I'm almost always pushed doing something, watching movies, designing something. So yeah, I'm always finding something to do with my time.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, we are going to have an awesome Q&A. They're going to ask me a bunch of questions. I'm hopefully going to answer in some sort of coherent way. We'll see. But why don't you join us for this episode? Okay, so who wants to kick us off with a question? Anyone?
I'll go.
Okay, Elena.
I'll go.
Okay, here we go.
So, what I wanted to know is what are the physical steps that you take to make rest happen in your life?
Yeah, so it is. I think it's there are some. It's hard work. Let's just say that to get going. It really is. I remember, and I've shared this in part of a few episodes before. But for Claire and I, it took. We looked forward 2 months into our calendar
Wow.
and said, okay, we've got a free. At that time, it was a half day Friday, half day Saturday, free 24 hours there, and we said, cool. Let's put that in the diary as booked time. So I think that was the first step, is that we practically said to ourselves, we need to actually book out this time as if we were busy, but we're busy resting. So I think the first thing is to look ahead, try and find a 24-hour gap and book it out as if it were an actual event that you were doing. And then the second thing is this will happen, and this is what we've also tried to encourage ourselves, is that date will inevitably come into conflict with other things. So there will be stuff, good stuff, fun stuff, awesome stuff that will come up that people will say, hey, what are you doing on the 20th? Or whatever the date that you've set is. And you'll go, oh, we're meant to be Sabbathing. And immediately you'll have this conflict of, oh man, but this is an incredible thing.
Yeah.
That I've been invited to this party, or I've got to do this, or oh shish, there's the pressures, like I really need to do this for work, like when else am I going to do it? And I'd say the second practical step is to fight for that time then. So you've made a decision, you've set it out, and then to make the decision that, hey, we are gonna fight so that whatever, in a sense, comes our way, we're gonna make sure that we protect that Sabbath space. For certain people, there are different days that work better for them. So for you need to think, okay, what works for my family dynamic in the best way.
Yeah.
For Prince, it could be something of like a weekday where he finds himself thinking like, okay, cool, I don't have 24 hours, but I can start with, let's say, 6 hours from when I end work on a Wednesday at 4 o'clock or something till 10 o'clock, whatever. I'm not gonna watch TV. I'm gonna make sure that is that's my time.
Dedicated time. Yeah.
I know, Elena, I'm sure there's a lot more things that are practical steps to like actually getting going. But I would say those two things of first find a date and then protect the date.
Yeah.
And then that's your first start, is that once you arrive at your 24 hours, what do you do is a completely different question, which I'm sure we'll get there, but those would be the first two things.
You touched upon something that I was going to ask about as well, which is like, as a creative, like how do I go about actually saving a day when I'm like working full time.
Yeah.
And that time would have been the time when I'm like working on my passion projects or trying to express myself, because like ideas are always running. So that time when I'm like off work, that's when like my own stuff comes up. So like how do I build like discipline towards that, or like how do I go about it?
Yeah. So I'd say, and can I say this first? I'd say a layer deeper than that is realizing that our work to God is almost worship. And that is that in, obviously when we work, it's a really good thing and we're able to worship God in our work. But also when we stop working and when we give God, let's say, for example, I've got a crazy deadline that's coming up and I'm like, I really need these 24 hours. But I'm like, actually, I'm going to worship you in my work and actually give God those 24 hours and trust that Lord, you know what I need. You know that I need to meet this deadline. And I think for you, Prince, is like, I think I would say is like to understand that as well, is that almost like your creativity, your passion projects, what you're doing, all your inspiration stems from God himself. He's the author of the job that you have. He holds your life. We aren't in control. I think that's one of the beautiful things about Sabbath is that it makes you realize, like, actually I'm not in control. Like we've often found is that like we'll try and stay off social media, let's say, for example. And then we'll think like, whoa, what have I missed? Surely I've missed so much. And you go back after the 24
Monday
hours and you're like, the world has literally carried on without me.
You did not
no
miss
one
something.
no one has missed me. It's totally fine. The world has not crumbled in on itself. And I think that's one of the things to also realize is that with our work, is that actually it's okay. It's gonna be fun. I think we often fear like, what am I gonna miss out? But it
feels like I'm neglecting.
But actually, there's this cool thing of what are you gonna gain?
Sure, that's
you know what I mean?
Good point.
Like, what is the possibility? Like, could you imagine that in this time of resting, actually you have this download of ideas because you've actually been able to stop. You're not thinking in the constant work way, or you're not thinking, what do I have to do? What am I worrying about? But actually in your stopping and in just realizing, oh, like, Lord, you're wanting me to like actually realize what are you wanting me to enjoy nature, you wanting me to worship, you wanting me to just spend time with you. What happens if in those moments God actually is like just reviving your soul so that when you come back to work, you're like bursting with like ideas and stuff.
It's funny you say that as well. It's like every time I take a walk, I'm like filled up with ideas and I can't wait to go back home and write them down. So I can imagine now actually setting out like a whole day, just be like, okay, I'm resting. I'm allowing like whatever it is that's been happening to sink in or whatever.
And obviously, like, I think I want to say it's not a formula. So it's not like if I say, oh man, I've got this massive project that I need to have ideas about. Then I'm like, okay, I'm a Sabbath. And then like my whole reason for Sabbathing is like, I want good ideas. I think it's just like the byproduct of is that actually our souls feel peace about the fact that actually, you know, if I fail at this job or if I succeed at this job, if I have the greatest idea or if I have the worst idea, God's in control. And I don't need to worry. I don't need to stress.
Exactly.
I don't even know if I've answered your original question.
Let's give it a little bit.
You actually,
But I hope there's something in there.
I was looking for step 1, step 2. But that was good.
It's like FOMO is the opposite of rest, and it robs you.
It does.
I didn't realize that, but until you said that now, totally robs you of rest. Robs me.
It's not about what are you missing out on.
No.
It's what are you
going to gain? That's huge. That's so big.
Which is a bit of a mind shift.
Yeah. What I was actually thinking is, what does rest look like with kids? Because from the minute you wake up, right down to when you go to sleep, there's like tiptoeing past the bedroom, put your head on the pillow, and you just go, and you're like, good luck to your husband. You each say good luck, good night, and it's sleep, and hope that you don't get woken up by somebody. So when you even mentioned rest, I was like, Yes, that's amazing.
yeah,
I want that. How do
yeah,
you do that? How do you do that
Yeah.
with kids, Brett?
So honestly, it is a challenge, and it has. I mean, we started Sabbathing before we had kids, so the transition into having one kid and then having two kids was interesting, and I think the one thing that I would also, so one thing that I've learned is that before we had kids, our Sabbath rests included spiritual rest, included physical rest, and also rest from work and just like
Yeah.
almost mental and emotional rest.
Yes, yes.
With kids, the the physical rest is not as easy as you've just described. So we having a late morning, which Prince you would be able to do, having a late morning to just physically rest and to recuperate isn't as easy. But it's nice to know that actually the spiritual and the emotional and the mental capacity to rest is still of huge value. So I think it's to look at it from that side is to say, okay, cool. In this season that we find ourselves with young kids,
Yes.
we may not be able to get the fullness of the physical aspect of resting on Sabbath, but there are still other elements of my emotional, my spiritual, like how's my soul resting? And often that's, our souls are degraded by like worry and stress and all these other things that just cloud our mind. So to be able to look at that and go, okay, cool, I can still rest in different ways is the first step. I think something which is great and a positive, which we found with young kids, is that we've been able to get them into the rhythm of Sabbath a lot easier. We haven't been set in stone,
cool.
like they're not 16-year-old teenagers who are now trying to get into a space of rest. And if that is you, I'm sorry. And I'm sure there are ways to navigate that. But with young kids, we've introduced them. So we tell them that as we begin our Sabbath evenings on a Friday evening, we say, hey, it's Sabbath time. We start with praying. We will go for a walk to the shops. And they've learned to love that. So we make little, I don't want to say traditions, but they're little moments that they know only happen during Sabbath. So they get excited for it. Yeah. So Friday night's a fun meal. We go for a walk to the shop. Esther's able to get a little treat. So there's little moments that we've tried to ensure that they will remember Sabbath days as days that are fun, that are filled with mom and dad.
Yeah.
They're filled with moments of joy. So all the things that maybe you can't do during the week because of work realities or just other stuff, we try and make sure that during the Sabbath day we're doing things that fill our
souls.
Yeah,
and that's so cool. So how does it happen? Would you perhaps introduce TV to the kids? I mean, that's for us, that's like a nice way to do a little bit of downtime.
Yeah.
They also get to rest, watch something fun, and then maybe you and Claire can do something together.
Yeah.
When you're talking about rejuvenate your souls, would
Yes.
you guys do worship, or would you maybe pray, or
No, that's great.
What is it?
So I think, and again, this is not, I just want to reemphasize, it's not a
prescriptive thing,
yes,
but I just want to
it's
know
not
what
a
you're doing in
religious
your
thing.
lives.
So
Yes,
for
exactly.
For you guys,
exactly.
it may look like that.
Yes,
and
okay.
I think that's awesome. So yeah, there are moments where I think we'll say, hey, Esther, want to watch a Peppa Pig or something?
Yes.
And all the moments where it collides perfectly, and Esther and Zachary are having a sleep together, and we're able to go have a sleep together, and it's like just like perfect.
Yeah, that's
but
nice.
I think for each family to try and find that rhythm is, so if
that
you guys
for
find
them.
that actually there are moments where for Sophia she's able to go and play and watch this show, and it gives you and Nick time to actually to pray together, or if you want to pray as a family or something like that. I mean, we don't have like set worship times or anything like that. I think it's more the heart of worship throughout the day is to actually be like
and it's an open heart, open mind.
To kind of just be like, actually, like our this 24-hour period is staying grateful to God for stuff. Just staying in a place of saying thanks a lot to God.
And would you ever, because when you say rest, you think sleep.
Yes.
But like you're saying about the joy and stuff,
Yeah.
would you ever? I mean, would you dance and have like a
Yeah,
dance
for
party?
sure.
Because Nick would probably laugh at me and go, "No, I want to go sleep. This isn't rest." But for me, that would
Yeah.
rejuvenate my
Yeah.
soul. It often
That's
does.
cool.
So, yeah,
totally.
It's nice
So
to
I
look at
think
it like that.
It's looking at what revives your soul, and I think what revives your soul as a family unit is also important. What for your kids are things that will make them come alive that you can do as a family that are those special moments. So
Oh, that's so cool.
it is. I don't want to
It's-
make it sound like it's really easy.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
hard.
Yeah.
And it takes, like I said, it takes hard work to
Discipline.
get and discipline to get into that space. But there is definitely, with young kids, there is a space for that.
Yeah.
Um,
I can hear the heart behind it,
Yeah,
which I
yeah,
think
yeah,
is
yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
um,
That sounds amazing. What a good recipe.
yeah,
Oh my
but
goodness.
and can I just want to, as we kind of close, I just want to add is that obviously for you guys,
Yeah.
it might look different.
Yes.
And as you go
yes.
on your journey, it would be great to find out, oh, what do you find brings life?
Yeah.
What do
Yes,
you find brings
yes,
life?
yes.
What are the things that you found actually like, wow,
Yeah.
this has been so life-giving to me. So it is a journey. It's an invitation from God to step into more delighting and a bigger picture of worship, and
Yeah.
just stopping worrying, stopping stressing, and actually understanding, listen, God's in control. He's got us. We can rest.
Yeah.
We can truly
Amazing.
rest.
That's
We need it
cool.
more today than ever.
Yeah,
I don't think
it's
it's
very
spoken
true.
about enough.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's a
very true.
really good
And I'm so
point,
glad
Prince.
that I had to be here.
Yeah,
I can
well,
start
guys,
now.
Yeah. Thanks so much for joining
Yes.
us. And yeah, I trust you guys have found this helpful. If you have any questions, please let us know. You can email us or comment, or wherever you're watching this, just get hold of us. We'd love to hear them. But thank you so much for joining us for this series, and we trust that you have felt inspired and that the Holy Spirit has spoken to you wherever you are.